I don't need this thing, man. I'm so loud. I don't need a microphone. Y'all hear me okay? All right. You guys having a good time? I like that. Yes, sir. No, sir. That's all right. First, like Coach said, let me tell you a little bit about myself. But y'all are babies. You don't know me from Adam's Cat. Got a couple of you guys booked. You guys remember the cat we did a few weeks ago. My name again is J.R. Reed. I'm from Virginia Beach, Virginia. Not too far from here. My son Jalen went to school here, high school. Jalen Reed now he's at Tennessee State. And I know the type of work that Coach Steele has done with him. So when I came down and saw Jalen working out with him, first thing I asked him, can I get you to come work with some other kids out in the western part of the state who don't get the opportunity to see a lot of basketball players and get a lot of people to come out with knowledge of the game and work with them. So he was on board. And when he told me he was doing the camp here, I came over to help out wherever I could. Again, from Virginia Beach, my father was a principal, was a high school coach, and he was a teacher. My mother was a school teacher as well. They both met at St. Augustine's College in Raleigh, North Carolina. My father was a football player from Miami, from Coconut Grove. Met my mother at college. Mother was a quiet girl from Virginia Beach. My father was a wild, crazy one from Miami, Florida. So they hit it off, got together, and she broke. She got him quiet. Big Herm, I hear people tell me stories about my father from back in the day, and I look out like, who are they talking about? I don't know this guy. My father passed away in 03, but he was a big man, about 6'5", about 280. Got drafted by the Baltimore Colts, played with Johnny Unitas for a couple of years. Then my mom told him, you need to get a real job. We can't have you living in Baltimore. You and this crazy son of yours by myself in Virginia Beach. So he gave up football, went back, became a principal. He had opportunity. Older coaches there might remember Herbert Scott that played for the Cowboys years ago. He coached David Robinson, who I played with the San Antonio Spurs. He was an Olympic teammate of mine in Virginia Beach. He also coached Plaxico Burress. You guys might know played for New York Giants, a couple other teams. So my father in my household, sports was always big. It was always sports. But the same token, I realized, and my parents realized, that was always academics was the first. Before I could do anything, before I could come to any camps, before I could go get all the new shoes, before I could go out and do anything, I had to do my homework. And for my father being the first in his family to ever graduate high school, it was important to him about education. Education gave him an opportunity along with athletics. He got a chance to go to college up here. He got a chance to get to the NFL, and he wanted me to have a brighter future. So, growing up in Virginia Beach, we really didn't have a lot of athletes at that time. Now, we've had Allen Iverson, we've had Alonzo Mourning, and Bruce Smith, and Percy Harvin. We've had all type of athletes coming through that area. But when I came through, I was the first. We didn't really have that. And really no basketball players, a lot of football players. So I had to kind of forge my own road as I went. So when I got older, when I was like you, how many in here play football? Anybody soccer players? Baseball? Track? That's what I see. When I was your age, I did all those sports. I got my first letter from a college when I was in 8th grade for football. So at the time, I was probably 8th grade, I was probably 6'5", about 200 pounds, and I grew up in a house where football was the first sport we played. And my dad, I grew up with a helmet, and I remember growing up playing flag football. You guys ever play flag football? Now, that's what I love football. Now, you gotta remember, when I was playing, I was about 7 years old. My father was an ex-pro player, was a defensive tackle, mean guy. So he was teaching me football moves at 6 or 7 years old. So I'm out here playing flag football, and my dad showed me forearm shivers and knocking blocks off and getting through the line. So 10 minutes of football, I had probably given 2 or 3 bloody noses. Kids quit playing on the other team, said we ain't playing with them. So the coach came over, my dad was assistant coach, the other coach came over and told him, he said, hey, we came in out playing with your team, your son's playing too hard, too physical. And my dad said, well, pack your stuff up and get off the field then. So my dad from that point, he told me, never apologize. apologize for being big. Don't apologize for being bigger. Don't apologize for being better than your opponent. You tell them to get better. So that was really big for me. Being a big kid, always being head and shoulders over everybody. You know, I was this tall. You know, I got pictures of my kindergarten teacher, Mrs. Obrick. Mrs. Obrick was about 5'1" in kindergarten. So I'm taking my class pictures. I'm up here next to her. I'm like, I'm her doggone assistant teacher. So I've always been a big player. I mean, a big person. So always trying to fit in, you know, always bigger than the people that you play with. I mean, your age group. So you move up, you gotta play with older kids, you know, but you might not be ready mentally for older play. So you had to grow up a little early, a little quicker, I should say, at my age. So in Virginia Beach, when I came through, no basketball to speak of in my area. So I started going to these national camps. I went to the 5-star camp. I went to the first Nike All-American camp where they paid for you to come to this all-star camp and you could play with other players around the country. You know, I got a chance to play with, I'm trying to think of some of the big name players you guys might not remember, but for us, getting an opportunity for them to fly us in to Princeton University is where they had the first Nike camp. They paid for us to come. At the time before that, it was illegal, they couldn't do that. They flew us in, we took classes in the morning, helped us prepare for college. We're at Princeton University, one of the most prestigious universities in the nation. And we got a chance to come in and play against the top players in the nation. So I was a rising sophomore. So there were guys older than me. You know, I come to those camps, you know, I was like everyone. I came here to make a name for myself, split heads, and do what I had to do. So you guys might have seen that story on the player Ben Wilson. Anybody see that story on ESPN? On the Ben Wilson story? Well, that story, one guy saw, I was good. At least you watch some good TV. Ben Wilson was a player out of Chicago, the best player in the nation. He's a senior. He's about my size, height-wise, about 6'9", 6'10", but he played point guard. Absolutely phenomenal player. I was only 15 at camp, and I guess he was probably 18, becoming a rising senior in high school. So I got a chance. I'd always been the best on the court, best in my age when I played against everyone. So I got to go to this camp, and I realized, you know, there's other players out here in this country that are pretty good. You know, there's other guys who can do everything that I do. So then I had to realize, you know, what's going to set me apart from all the other great players in the nation. I knew, I said, I don't jump. I'm not the highest jumper in the gym. You know, I'm not the best jump shooter. But I knew what I did. I knew I played hard. I knew I played harder than most everybody I played against, and I knew I was stronger than everybody I played against. So I found my comfort zone, which was not too far outside of that paint. So I played, you know, went back to high school, ended up being the #1 sophomore player in the nation, #1 junior in the nation, #1 senior in the nation, USA Player of the Year, Gatorade Player of the Year, McDonald's All-American, McDonald's MVP, Capital Classic MVP, All-State, sophomore, junior, senior year in high school. So I did all that. Everything that you guys are thinking about doing, I've done it all, forgot half of it. So I know exactly where everything is. And I know about right now in the speech, y'all like, man, will you please shut up? I'm ready to start playing. So I know everything that you guys want to do and hope to attain, all the dreams, all the goals that you have for yourself. But it all starts right here in this court. Now it's okay, how many of you guys want to be NBA players? Young ladies, WNBA, excuse me, as well. Now we might have 10 players in here to get a chance to go to the NBA. Then again, we might have none. We just might have a lot of players who love the game, enjoyed it for a little while, and then you move on. So at a certain point, maybe not right now, but I know a lot of you feel this way, there's gonna be a certain point when you gotta make a decision. A lot of your friends gonna be off doing things, a lot of it, stuff they shouldn't be doing. You know, there's gonna be other kids that are gonna find out, your teammates are gonna drop off, you know, get interested in other things. But you gotta find out if this is what you really wanna do. If you're gonna have your parents invest all this money, spend money, get you to come to these camps, it can't be a hobby after a while. After a while, it's gonna have to be a full-time gig for you. Really realize you're gonna have to give up your weekends and spending your time on the court. It become a better player. Because look, I'm gonna tell you, I got a chance to go to, after I got to high school, I went to University of North Carolina. I played for the greatest coach, I think, of all time, when he played, Dean Smith. Player that had coach, he had Michael Jordan, James Worthy, Sam Perkins, Brad Daugherty. So when I was coming through, I had my choice of all the universities in the nation to go through, but I had a wise high school coach, really helped me. Another big man that helped me, my parents were there. To help me get through all that, we just narrowed the teams down. My sophomore year, we narrowed it down to 15 schools. My junior year, we got it down to 10 schools I was looking at. Then by my senior year, I only had 5 schools, which made it easy for me. I didn't have to worry about phone calls and all that mail, coaches calling you, let's see if you were going to school. They already knew it was only 5. The other schools didn't even need to call. So we got down to my 5, I decided to pick Carolina. I went to North Carolina, stayed there 3 years, got a chance to play on some ACC championship teams, some tournament teams, got to the Elite 8 3 years in a row. Great, had a lot of accolades, but what I'm most proud of about my college and pro career is that I did it the right way. A lot of guys went to school, took money, played for AAU teams where AAU coaches didn't care about the players, they were looking out the line in their pockets. I played for great teams. And I chose to go to North Carolina knowing that, yeah, we didn't get money back then. You know, we didn't have money. Coach Smith would never jeopardize his credentials and the respect that he had gotten through all the coaches in his time of coaching by paying players. So when we went to school in Carolina back then, players knew, other coaches knew that we got it. When I said we got it, we understood. We know that, yeah, I could go to University of Maryland, average 20-some points a game. I go to UVA and average 20-some points a game, but I'm gonna lose to Carolina every year. I'm not gonna go to the bottom, I'm not gonna get to the NCAA big game. I wanted to go where the best players had gone. I figured if Michael Jordan had gone there, James Worthy, Perkins, the line of All-Americans that played there, I wanted to be on the scale with them. So I said, if I consider myself the best, I wanted to go where the best went. So I went to Carolina 3 years there, played in the Olympics, got drafted, left my junior year, went to the NBA, went to the Charlotte Hornets, played for the Lakers, the Knicks, Spurs, Cleveland, Milwaukee. So I had a chance in basketball to go a lot of places. I played in Spain, I played in France. So I've had a chance to see the whole world. And I took it like you were supposed to use. You use basketball as just a vessel, as a tool to get to where you want to go. This is a game. I realized that from the beginning, it's just a game. My father let me know as quickly as I got all this, it could be gone. So I realized I had to get the most out of it. Like for me to get the most out of it and not feel cheated, like a lot of players did, was to go to school and graduate. So I left. When I left my junior year, I only needed 12 hours to graduate. Went back to summer school. Coach Smith put a stipulation in my contract. I got a bonus if I went back and graduated. So guess what I did? Went back and graduated. But not because of that bonus, not because of that of my contract, because I had promised my mother who was a school teacher, my grandmother who had gone to college, my aunts and uncles. I promised all of them I was going to finish my deal. Part of my deal was going to school and getting my degree. Because we went to school and didn't get your degree, back then, it was almost like you got cheated. They got what they wanted out of you and you didn't get anything. So I finished my degree and I went on to go on to play in the NBA. So I attained almost every goal I had set for myself. My parents being teachers, my mom made me write down what I wanted to do. Write down your goals. Just don't talk me to death, she said. Write down what you want to do. I told her I wanted to play in the NBA. Well, then what does that entail? What do you have to do to get to the NBA? You have to have good grades. You got to be coachable. You got to listen. You got to get in the gym and work. You know what I mean? That's what it took. I want to be the Olympics. I told my dad, we're sitting there watching the Olympics when I was 8, 9 years old. I told my dad, I want to go to the Olympics. He goes, what are you going to do? I said, I don't know. I just want to go. But he said, well, you better start working on something. From that point on, I was going to be in boxing. I started boxing. I ran track. I did the Hershey track meet. I did everything. Anything was sports related, I was there. Then as I got older, and I started filling out and getting bigger and realizing that basketball was going to be my thing. That's when everything shifted. I realized, man, I got an opportunity, to reach goals and do things I don't even dream about. And I sat home and watched Dr. J, like you guys watch Kobe Bryant and LeBron. I used to watch Dr. J and Moses Malone. Moses Malone, because he's from Virginia. I wanted to be like him. And lo and behold, I got a chance to play with Moses Malone the last year of his contract. One of my dear friends to this day. Got to play with my idol. Got to play with Dr. J. Watch Dr. J. Got to talk to him and meet him. So I'm just saying all this to see if you guys wrap up is that basketball is going to give you opportunity to do a lot of things. You might be able to go to the top, to the apex, and get to the NBA, but it's okay if you just get a Division I scholarship. It's okay if you get a partial Division II scholarship, but do something with it. Just don't play it just to be playing, have fun with it. But you got to realize that basketball and athletics in general is going to give you an opportunity to go a lot of places. You can see a lot of things. You don't have to be in the NBA. You don't have to be LeBron. You don't have to be Kobe. There's coaches. Now I work for the ACC Digital Network. I'm a broadcaster. Told my mom I wanted to be on TV when I was 6. I'm on TV, so I'm setting goals. I'm goal-oriented. It never stops because we get older. You have to still keep setting goals for yourself and things that you want to attain. So I'm out here chasing dreams every day, just like a kid is 17 years old. I'm still working, and I want you guys to keep working on your game. Keep working. If you know that you got a problem in school, you like to talk a little bit too much in school, then you got to try to curb that. You got a problem with authority, you don't like taking direction. If you want to be an athlete, you're going to have to learn to take direction. That's part of it. Everybody at every level has always been for me, always been a good player. Always been, let's say, the man on the team. But there comes a point in time when you being the man on the team is not going to be conducive to y'all being a good team. You got to sacrifice. Yeah, you want to say, man, I should be shooting 10, 15 times a game. But maybe that's not best for the team. Maybe that's not what the coach wants you to do. And you got to look at the big picture sometimes. I know a lot of times we get sucked in and we think it's all about us all the time, and it's not. Basketball is a team that's based on situations, and our coach has got to put you all in the best situations to make you successful, which in return makes the team successful. So don't always look at things as a negative. Oh, that coach don't like me. Oh, that coach don't understand my game. Oh, he won't let me get no light. Isn't that what they say? Coaches not former players, coaches, isn't that what you hear? Or you've been in a situation where that coach don't understand. So me being a coach, now this part of my career, being a player, I realize it's a fine line. The coach has got to find that. He's got to find what's best for that team. It might not be best for you, but what's best for that team. So if you learn and grow, adjust, be ready to make transitions. Basketball is a game of quick transitions. So be ready to do that in life as well. And I can sit up here and ramble on all day, but I just want to say thank you all. You guys be attentive, you listening, and I know you guys are ready to play. And I want to say thank you for giving me a few minutes to talk to you a little bit. And I'll be around. Anything you want to ask me, any Tar Heel questions, anything about the ACC that I cover that you guys want to talk about, I'll be around to answer questions for you. Thank you and have a good week.
All right, one more thing. I'm going to go very quick 5 minutes. You guys already know from work with the station. There's another very good friend of mine actually going down here with his camp tomorrow. His camp starts tomorrow. It's called Camp Be Up. Third year. Loyal. This Be Up right there. All right, and good morning. Okay, well, I'm done. JR said everything. He said everything I wanted to say. But just a little bit. I talked the other day and I talked about going to Wake Forest and stuff. Well, I was telling JR when he came in a little while ago, and he may not remember me. I was one of the smaller kids compared to JR. But I played at Wake Forest. And my freshman year was JR's senior year. Was it your junior year? Was this junior year? And I'm trying to give you another year. Okay, all right. So it was his junior year that I played against JR in the ACC. And probably even before that, I watched him play, and we played a lot of AAU tournaments together. I tried before, played a lot of basketball. And many of the things that he talked about, all the things that he talked about, is so true. But what I want to do is, I just want to mention, and I'll only be about 5 minutes, 3 minutes now. I want you guys and girls to get out and start playing. But you know, attitude to me is everything. Okay. You can be the best player in the world. You can have more talent than anybody that's in the gym. But if you don't have a good attitude, people don't want to deal with it. Okay? You know, it used to be back when JR and I, when we were in school, coaches would fly in to see you play. They'd be all at the high schools and stuff. Now, basically, going to most of the big camps. And they're writing and telling these college coaches who they need to be recruited. Okay, so it's tough. It's tough to get a Division I, Division II scholarship. It's tough to get a basketball scholarship. So what you gotta do is you gotta do something that's gonna separate you from the next player. Okay? Because you got good players all over, not just in Rock Hill, not just in Charlotte, not just in South Carolina. You got kids that do this day in and day out, they put the work in, they spend the time. But you gotta be able to do something to separate you from the rest of the group. Okay? And I'm just gonna tell you, as all these coaches are working with you at the stations during the course of yesterday, how well you take direction, how well you take instructions, how you take things in. I know at one of the stations we were at yesterday, me and Coach B, when we was telling the kids certain things, you can look on their face and you can tell whether they were listening at us or not listening at us, whether they were giving us their full attention or not. And I'm just going to tell you that we can give you guys a lot of things over the last, at least yesterday and today, but you've got to take it home. You've got to take the attitude in which you want to learn and soak up everything that has been given to you all day yesterday, and you got to take these things home and you got to work at it. Okay? It's just not going to come. You got to work at it. Okay? And so you got to work. You got to work hard. You got to work tirelessly. Okay? You got to keep committed. You got to show dedication to the things that you want. Anything is possible, but you got to put some work into it. Okay? It's just not going to knock on the door, and things are going to happen. Okay, so for me, what I would say is, especially the group that's here in Rock Hill, Steele and I have been, we've been going at this, I know, for 3 years together. I know how dedicated he is. I know how committed he is to the game. I know he's a student of the game. What I would like you kids to do is, next year when I come, because I'm coming back next year and I know he's going to do it next year, I want you to go out and tell somebody what a great time you guys and girls had yesterday and the great time that you're going to have today. Okay? And we want to double by numbers next year. Okay? So I'm challenging all of y'all to go out and tell a friend about all the good things that's going on here at Rock Hill High School with Coach Steele. Okay? And I want us to double in numbers next year. So when I come back next year, we're going to double in numbers. Okay? So, we accept that challenge? Okay, we're going to accept that challenge and we're going to pass the word, okay? And then the last thing for me, before you leave today, two things. One thing is before you leave today, all these coaches that stand around in white shirts, okay? All these people standing around in white shirts, you tell them thank you before you leave today. Okay? You say thank you. Okay? When people come out and give up their time to try to help you and share things with you, the one thing you need to do is you need to say thank you. Okay? So before you leave, I want to make sure that you shake a coach's hand or all of our coaches' hands and you say thank you before you leave today. Okay? And then the last thing for me is I've got 2 shirts over there. Everybody at the campus can't be up. I've got 2 shirts over there and I've got a magic bar, a permanent marker. And I want each of you to sign that shirt for me before I leave today. Okay? All right? Can I get that before I leave? All right, thank you.
All right, we're going to go ahead and jump into our stations, guys. Remember, stations is only 1 hour a day, 10 minutes per station. Okay? So let's go ahead and start reporting to the station you started at yesterday. The station you started at yesterday.